Let's talk about it, Boulder.
We good. We're good.
Once again, the Buffs have hosted a massive recruiting weekend this past weekend. So we've got to dive into some of the players that pulled up. You had some IMG Academy kids. You had some top-rated kids from the East, as well as a few Texas boys that I want to point out that are important to make mention of for Colorado, as well as the Buffs win once again in the transfer portal, and they pick up a former Buff that went out and ventured to grow and come right back. So let's dive into that here on the Prime Time for College Football. Thank y'all for pulling up. I'm your host, Jay. Let's dive into first the transfer portal pickup for the Buffs, and then we're going to go through the list of 5-star players that pulled up for the Buffs' big-time official visit recruiting weekend. First and foremost, the Buffs got a commitment last night from Jack Hestra, former wide receiver from Colorado. He played for the Buffs back in 2022. 2021. He hails from Cedar Park, Texas. He'll have 1 year eligibility, 6 foot 185. He was a walk-on with Colorado when he initially showed up for the Buffs. And in his first season of really playing in 2022, he had 14 catches for 157 yards. So a very solid outing for a player of that caliber. And then he transferred out to go get himself a scholarship, left in 23, was at Charlotte, finished that season, 28 catches for 349, 3 touchdowns, then transferred to Utah State, played for the Aggies, 24 catches, 340 yards, 4 touchdowns. So in his career, statistically, he's not bad at all. It's a pretty good pickup for what Colorado's doing. He's going to add to a very stacked wide receiver room, but brings a veteran presence. He has only 1 year left of eligibility, as I mentioned, but he, as a redshirt senior, I think he's definitely worth the flyer for what the Buffs are looking to do. A good possession guy, really good at catching and getting open, very good route runner. I was watching some of his film from Utah State. I was trying to find some stuff to show you all, but I like his route running ability. He can get open. That's all that matters. And he makes some clutch catches. And so you add him to a room with Sincere Brown as well as Hakeem Williams, as transfers coming in, Terrell Timmons Jr., adding that with Marion Miller, Draylon Miller, Joseph Williams. You got a nice buildup of veteran wide receivers that could do a good job of ushering the Buffs into next season, for this coming season and ushering the young guys to play here in 2026. So Buffs with a solid pickup out of the portal. Let me know what y'all think. Hop in the comments. Bringing back an old face that was before the Prime era, and now he gets to come in and prove himself. See if he can earn himself a spot. But we know the Buffs are not done in the transfer portal. They've got more players going to be doing some visits. They got other players they're targeting. So we'll keep our eyes open and ears to the ground to see what could potentially happen next. Now, the Buffs had a really big recruiting weekend, bringing in some 5-star, 4-star top talent in the country, especially living in one place. It looks like they're going to be trying to build some rapport at, which is out of IMG Academy. As you know, the Buffs have a few players out of IMG Academy. They recently hosted Jay Cruel, the Edge from there, as well as offensive lineman Brett College, who is from Colorado, but is now, quote unquote, stationed at IMG Academy in Florida. But the Buffs aren't stopping there. They're looking to take advantage of the pipeline of players that comes through IMG Academy. So let's look at some of the players. First, we'll take a look at the 5-star that pulled up, and then we'll jump into the IMG Academy kids, and then we'll finish up with the Texas boys, a few of them that the Buffs are looking at. I'm only got like 7 players I'm going to talk about. There was a longer list of players from that. Check out 247. They got the full list, but I'm going off the ones I saw on social media and they're posting and the ones that really make the most sense to dive into. First and foremost, you got Cedarian Morgan, 5-star wide receiver out of Alexander City, Alabama. He is consensus composite 5-star top 20 player in the country. 247 has him as number 16 on 3, and their consensus has them sitting at number 19 in the country. 6'4", 215, big wide receiver. And he pulled up, of course. He's got talent. He's got a lot of big visits, though, coming up. He's got Georgia, Clemson, Florida, Auburn, and Bama again. He was he's just considered one of the top wide receivers in the country, top 5 easily, if not top 2. And, of course, the Buffs have a lot of ammunition when it comes to talking to wide receivers. They can preach just how good they are in that spot with having 3 of them drafted this past class, and there's a chance that more of those can actually happen. So the Buffs are looking to grab some players that are top ranked, and they're having these conversations, which of course you Buff fans do appreciate. The Buffs are going after them. So you got Cedarian Morgan, who pulled up. Another wide receiver from out there in the East Coast, Vance Spafford. Vance Spafford is a top 150 player in the country, based out of Vishimalejo, California. My apologies. He's actually the West Coast kid. And I like what I see out of him. He, let me see. He is listed top 100 for on 3. 247 has him at 120, but he's top 100 on the consensus composite setup for both on 3 as well as 247. Currently committed to Georgia. Like I said, out of Mission Viejo, California. And so forgot him being committed to Georgia made me forget the fact that he is from California, but he's a really good wide receiver. 5'10", 5'11-ish, 175. Get you a nice size at wide receiver, and everyone likes his game. 247 when talking about him and his talent. He's very productive, and he has a nice 40. Runs an 11 in the 100 with a personal best of 10.69, which was in 2024. Very quick, light on his feet, and fast. And he's good at either out or even in the slot. So he's one of those that is really good at winning contested catches as well as breaking some to continue to keep the drive going. Buffs are on a roll. Outside of Vance, out of California, your next player that they're looking at, we're going to go to the back out east. Dorian Barney. He's a corner out of Carrollton, Georgia, which you should know. That's where Juju Lewis hails from. And 6', 170 cornerback. He decommitted from Alabama recently, but he is a top 200 player in the country. Actually, top 150. 141 on the consensus composite for on 3. 247 has him at like 162. The other sites have him at top 100. And kid's got talent. He's one that a lot of the scouts actually like. Plays basketball as well. And so he's got OVs with some big programs. Finished his Colorado one. He's going to Penn State, Georgia Tech, Texas A&M, as well as Michigan over the next few weeks. And so Colorado's trying to see if they can make some headway with him. It's always a plus to get your hands on some top talent in the country. And of course, the Buffs' success and Coach Prime, you know that Colorado's going to definitely be in the mix there. Next up, you've got some of the Texas boys. Donovan Web, safety out of Frisco, Texas. He is a top 350 player in the country, 6', 165. Not too shabby of a player. He is considered very productive, and he had some consecutive 100 tackle seasons, and had 9 ints in the season, 19 breakups. So he's all over the place. Very athletic, can play both sides of the ball, but he's very physical. Very physical. One of those players that like to get his hands in there, which, to be honest, that's kind of the Colorado mantra. You want dudes that's going to be super physical and get their hands in there. Track kid as well. Ran an 11:01 in the 100s as a junior. Personal record of 22:56 on the 200. So he is he's a track kid. Can't beat that. So you means you got some straight line speed as well as he's got some really good ability of finding the ball in the air and defending it. Something the Buffs, of course, need. With him, you've got Jordan Deck out of Frisco, Texas. He's very highly touted out there. Top 300 player in the country. And 6'1", 190. A lot of big schools are after him. He's got the Michigans of the world, Penn State, UCLA, Ole Miss. Local squads like Baylor, Notre Dame is after him like crazy. And it looks like the Buffs got themselves a little warmth there. Oklahoma wants him, Miami, LSU. Teams with pretty solid defenses are really after him. So I always like to look at the offer list that tells me if players actually can live up to the expectation. And I think that Jordan Deck can do that. And then lastly, let's talk about these IMG Academy kids that are being hardcore looked at. You got DQ Forpa, linebacker, 6'2", 220-pounder. He's out of Georgia, but he is an IMG Academy kid, which is, of course, a big deal. As, like I said, Colorado's got some IMG Academy kids on roster, and they're ramping it up for that football academy. And he's a track and field kid, but he's a good linebacker. Likes to hit, comes off the edge well, can block, play a little tight end. But he's got the big programs after him. Michigan, Florida State, Florida. He's got Clemson after him. So he's got some pretty big programs trying to get their hands on him. And Colorado is putting themselves right there, square in the mix to pick up some more kids from IMG Academy. Top 300 in the consensus composite. If Colorado can pull something like that, like I said, helps with that pipeline to IMG Academy. And then you got Genevvery Carr out of IMG Academy, 6'4", 325, big boy, top 500 player in the country. 247 has him listed as top at 249th. And at his size, 6'4", 300 and roughly 330. Kid can move well. Saw a video of him as an 8th grader. He was, at his height, 6'4", 300 pounds, and he's running like a running back. He gone. It's not really fair. And he runs a little track. Got to see him run his 40. Looked pretty good. Moves well for his size. And I think that that's really the biggest selling point on him is that he moves very well. He's got some massive visits as well. He's going to Georgia. He's going to Tennessee, Miami. He's visiting Florida. And so Colorado is trying to get their hands on a kid that the SEC wants to really bolster up that line. When you got Jaheim Otis there in the middle, to me, that really helps with what Colorado's able to sell to a player like Carr. And I think that he may buy into it. That's all the visitors that I want to touch on. Let me know what y'all think. Hop in the comments. Want to hear your thoughts. We'll dive more into what the Buffs are doing. We'll talk some NFL a little bit later today. We saw that the Cleveland Browns have been really bolstering up Shedeur Sanders. And I feel like there's some disrespect also happening there. I'll point that out in the next video. So make sure you subscribe to the channel and hit the bell notification so you don't miss any of these videos. We appreciate the support. We've grown to 33,000 plus subs. Pushing for 34. Hopefully get closer to 40 before the season starts. More videos are coming. I'm back home. We'll make it happen.